I'm going to show you how to edit real estate drone photos in a step-by-step guide so you can get the best out of your drone photography when you're doing real estate. G'day mate, a little while back I did a video on how to shoot drone images for real estate, and since then I've had a few requests on how to edit the images. And that's why we're here. I've been a real estate agent. I've been a real estate photographer for many years, and one thing I've noticed is that if you stick to a standard, your images will always come out great and your real estate agents will be happy. If you're looking to getting into drone photography for real estate, then this video is just for you. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do in your edits to get great results. And if you stick around to the end, I've got a gift for you. So let's get started. So let's drag some images in first. This should trigger Camera Raw. Got some raw images here. Now, these images here were shot on an overcast day, so we've got the bonus of having no harsh shadows, which is really good, and also no direct sunlight into the lens of the drone. If you watched my video previously, you'll see that I shoot with 5 bracketed exposures, which covers all the highlights and all the shadows, so it goes light through dark. Every time I press a button, it takes 5 images of the same angle. If you're shooting directly into the sun, you can blend those together in HDR, which I'll show you how to do at the end of this video in Lightroom, just so you know how to do it. But if it's an overcast day or it's not too sunny, you literally can pick the middle exposure or the exposure that you think looks the nicest. Obviously, it had just been raining when I did these, so these images aren't wonderful, but you've got all the shadows and all your highlights are all covered in one image. If you find you've got blown out whites out here, you can either use a darker image and brighten it up, or you can blend 5 together. Same if you've got too much shadows. Now you can color correct and stuff if you want here, and I generally do a little bit of adjustment, but not generally color correction. So if the shadows are a bit dark, I'd bring them up so it's evenly lit. So the whole idea is to get your images in this particular area evenly lit. We're not worried about color correction for this. We're going to do a bit of sky replacement, and we're also going to do all the labels on the shots. So this shot's fine. This one here, I would like that line at the top to be straighter. Makes it easier when you're drawing your lines later on. So I'm going to go over here to the crop tool up the right, and we're just going to hit the rotate tool in the middle here, and we're just going to rotate it a little bit until that is lined up. Now, I've done these previously, so it's probably already okay, but double click that and we're good. Now with these other shots, if your horizon is out, you do exactly the same thing. You click on the crop tool up the top right here, and then on the rotate tool, and you mess with your horizon to get it straight, double click and we're good. Now this one's a bit blown out, so I'm just going to go up to the light tab here, and I'm going to bring the exposure down a little bit and the shadows up a little bit, just to even that up a bit. We don't care about the sky at this point. It doesn't matter if your sky is dark or blown out. Now we're going to hold the shift key, select them all, press open. First thing I'm going to do is going to replace this sky. I use the same sky for every property, every drone shot all the time. Unless it's a bright sunny day and the sky looks great, then I'll leave the sky in for that. But when it's not, like this, I use the same sky every time for drones. And this is the sky I use. So go up to edit, sky replacement, and up here is the sky I use. And that's going to change that sky for me in about a second or two. What I like about this sky, it looks different every time because the sky replacement is here, but the original clouds are still there. All I do with this one is I bring the brightness up a little bit. I want it kind of lightish, like that, and then I do OK. And then what I do is I click the sky replacement down the bottom here, and then scroll down to the bottom and hold shift and press and left click, and then right click and go merge layers. I want all that merged so I can move it into my template in a minute. Let's do the next sky. Edit sky replacement. Wait a couple of seconds for that sky to kick in. As you can see, it's left a bit of this sky. So every sky looks different because it doesn't replace the sky completely. Bring the brightness up again. So we've still got a bit of cloud around here, and around the lower edges is really good to leave a bit of cloud, especially if you've got mountains in the shot, because otherwise the sky would, if you did a normal sky replacement and it was too harsh, it would actually change the mountains as well. It would make the cloud on the mountains turn into blue sky, which would look strange. So take a screenshot of my settings in my sky if you like. I'm also going to include a link to this sky in the description for you as well, so you can use it too. Press OK. Same thing here. Click on sky replacement, scroll down, hold shift and press the bottom one, and then do merge layers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to this template over here. We're going to do the location ones first. We're going to click on this image here, which is just image 242. Now we've got a nice sky in it. We're going to left click, and we're going to drag it across to what I have over here, which is my template. I'm just going to scroll this one down to the bottom. So if you look over the right hand side here, you've got the sky replacement group, which is my image, which is this image here. Line it up where we want it, and I'm just going to duplicate that twice. I do this for a reason. Sometimes you make mistakes and you're going to be drawing on one of these images, and you don't want to have to lose that image and have to replace the sky again, so you automatically have a backup in case you need it. And sometimes you'll do something, agents want extra changes, you've got a couple of backups of the original image. We're only going to be working on this image here, really. Now in this case, the house is right here. I've shot it so it's in the middle of the shot. So we're going to grab one of these balls and we're going to put it right there. And that's basically left click and hold. And this is a template I've created, by the way. You can change the colors, change the text, move everything around. It's pretty easy. So using Google Images to work out actually where things are, by looking at your image and there and Google Images as well, and you go, okay, that's the spot, that's where you put the ball. If you just click on it, it'll pop up on the right hand side here and you can see where it says address. If you click address and then hold shift, you can move the whole lot across to where you want to put it. And we'll double click on that and then you can change the text. Let's call it, I think it was 15 Smith Street, Miami. So I apologize in advance if by some miracle you're watching this video. All right, so we're going to click on this one here. The reason I've got these ones at different lengths because obviously you've got schools that have longer names. You can, rather than move this box in and out, which you can easily do, it's easy just to have a few that are different lengths. Let's click on this one here where it says local. And if you see over here, you just click on short box and then hold shift and you can drag that whole thing across. I'm going to put it in the sky somewhere here like this. And we're going to change it to text over here and we're going to write Walmart. And it'd be good if I knew how to type. And this one here, location, for instance, you click on that again, go over to long box 2, you can see the highlights over here, hold that, click on that, and then come back over here and hit shift, and you can literally move that to where you want as well. Now I like to line these up so all those lines line up together, so it's all very even. And we're going to put another one over here as well, just so it looks nicer for the sake of this image. Now to get rid of these ones, all you have to do is click it once, and go down here and you can see where it says long box, delete that. Sorry, hit the eyedropper and make it vanish. Same with that one, you just do that with all of them. On the title, you just make it vanish. Click on that, go here, make it vanish, click on that, go here, make it vanish. Same with the ellipses, click on the ellipse, make it vanish. Now we've got our image here. I like these to be a bit higher up, so just click on wherever you want, go to the title again, hold shift, move it up. Click on the title, move it up. It's all very quick and easy. I'm going to change the location of this, so you just double click on that. We're going to call that one Water Slide Park, just for the fun of it. And this one we're going to call Miami Medical Center. There we go. Sorry, we're in America. There we go. Now you can grab the move tool up here and you can move your text. If you just hold and click, you can just move it how you want as well. But if you want to make the box change size, you click on the box and you see it highlights itself down here. All you have to do is press Ctrl T and the box will highlight, and then hold the shift key so it only moves to the side, and left click and hold, and you can drag that however you want. Okay, now we have our address, we have our labels, but how do we draw everything else? Well, go over to the paint tool over here, and up here we've got your brush sizes. Now I have what's called a square brush Brett because I created it, but you literally can just use the round brush if you want, but you want a harsh brush, so go all the way to the top, do hard round for instance. That's what you want to use if you're going to use it. Then use a bracket key to make it go larger or smaller. We're going to go pretty small like that, and we're also going to click over here where this box is on the left hand side. If you see, we're And you can see that there's a box there. We're going to make that one white. But if you want to make it a different color, you literally can eyedrop it. Turns out it's that white anyway. And before we draw on this, we're going to scroll down to here where it says Sky Replacement Group, the top image, because if you draw on any of these ellipses, it's going to wreck your template, right? So scroll down, you want to be drawing on the actual image, not on your templates. So we're on here now, and we've got that wheel ready to go. We've got the size right. We're going to left click on the circle, and we're going to hold shift at the same time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag it upwards, just like that. And because you're holding shift, it draws a straight line. Like if I hold click here and then do shift, it'll draw a straight line. Click here, do shift, it does a straight line. We just grab our paintbrush again. We're going to draw it up like this, just like that. So you want to make sure you have your positions right before you draw these lines, because these lines are actually on the image down below. If you take away any of the ellipses, you'll see that the line's still there. It's because you're drawing on the actual image, which is why you have two spares. And what I do now is I go File, Save As, and what I'll do is I'll save these as a drone template. In this case, I'm not going to wreck the original template, so I save it. Usually I save it as a file name. So in this particular case, it was DJI 242, so I would save it as 242 and go Save. That way I've got access to do this exact thing and change it if an agent changes their mind, says that the address is wrong or done a spelling mistake, or they want more locations put in. Then I will also go Save As, and I'll save it as a TIFF. A TIFF file is a non-destructive file. We can always open it up again in Photoshop and play with the image. If you didn't save your project file, you can still do that. The bonus of saving it for a TIFF is you can load it into Lightroom later on and you can color correct it. Now we could do the same thing for the next image, but I'm not going to do that because you already know how to do it now. So I'm going to take these images out of this template now. So let's grab your first land shot, this angled block here. We're going to click on that and we're going to click the move tool and we're going to move it across and drop it into your template. We're going to drag this one all the way to the top, because at the top of the template, just under land size, is another part of this template that you'll use as well. Now we want 3 copies of this for a reason. And how you do 3 copies is you left click on it, drag it down to the plus sign, that creates another copy. In case you didn't know that, in case I didn't say that before. Layer at the bottom is not going to be touched. Layer in the middle is what we're going to blur, and the layer we're going to work on mostly is the top layer here. Okay, first of all, let's turn that top layer off and go to the second layer. We're going to go up to Filter, and we're going to click Gaussian Blur. So you're going to go into Blur, Gaussian Blur. We're going to make it about 11, click OK. It's going to blur that image, and what that does, you can blur it more if you want to, but what that does is if there's anybody sunbaking naked in the house next door, or if there's rubbish next door and it's standing out, or just rubbish on the nature strip, it doesn't make it as obvious when your image is finished. It blurs out everything but the property you're using. Now we've done that, go to the top one, click on that and turn the eye back on. Now we know the layer underneath is blurry and the layer on top is the one we're working on. So make sure that top layer is selected. Now you see above that it says land size. You can click that eye on and we've got the land size and some measurements. Depending on where you live, you'll have to work out what measurements your land is, but you can generally ask the agent what they are and they'll tell you anyway, and they usually send you over a file saying that the length and width of this block is whatever it is. So in this case, we just turn that off for a second. First we're going to do is we're going to draw the border around the property. So click on the top layer and we can grab your paintbrush again. Now if you've got that harsh round brush and that's all you got, then you can use that, but I'm going to use my square brush because I use it every day. This is my square white brush. Now I'm selecting white, of course. Use the bracket key, which is just above the 2 keys, just above the enter key on the keyboard. I'm going to go down to a size you think is great. I like that sort of rough size. And what we're going to do is we're not going to include the nature strip here. We don't want to include the footpath or the sidewalk or the nature strip. We want to actually include from here along. So we're going to go to the edge of the property and click here and hold shift. And we're going to put the mouse, we're going to follow that fence line all the way down to the edge of the property, just on the path there, and click again. Because you're holding shift, it'll draw a line. Keep holding shift and we're going to go along until we get to here, which is the edge of that fence, and click again. And then we're going to go all the way up to along the fence line to here, the edge of the back fence, so basically where that corner is, click again, and then we're going to click where we started. That's our property. I'm going to select the polygon lasso tool up here. Still make sure that that layer 1 is still selected. Click on the edge of the whiteboard you've just drawn in. Click again, and again, and so on, until it creates a selected area. Basically what we're doing is we're going to keep this section, and everything else behind it is going to be the layer below, which will be the blurred section. So we've drawn around that. His top layer is still selected. Select your layer mask button here, click it once, and now you have the top layer and the bottom layer exposed in one image. Now you can go up to your land size, click that eye, and you can move these around to wherever you want. You basically just hold and click your text with your left mouse. You can do Control T, and you can just, or with the left mouse holding it in, you can just drag that text to however you want it. Double click when you're done. Move the approx under there like so. And your measurements we can move around like this if we want. Now, I like to make my measurements line up with the line, so you select the measurement, Control T again, and if you hold your mouse to the left of it or the right of it, you can see that there's a rotate tool come up. So I just rotate it to how I want, and then just move it where I want and press enter. If you want to change the size of that text, you can just click it and do Control T, and then grab the corner of the box and you can make it smaller. Press enter. Control T, enter, and of course you can still move them around afterwards wherever you want to move them. That's your angled block shot. We're going to go File, Save As. Again, this one's 197, so we're going to save that TIFF as 197. Right, now that's done, we're going to save that also as a Photoshop file, just in case I stuff something up. Now we can take those 3 files, so you just basically select each one, hold Shift, and press Delete, and they're gone. Now we're going to grab the file 207, which is a straight down shot. We're going to drag that into the template as well. And just put it in the same spot. We're going to line it up, and then we're going to do what we did before. We're going to just drag it down to the plus line, drag it down to the plus line using the left mouse. That gives you 3 copies. Okay, same thing. We finished that one. See how quick that was? Once you've done one, it's easy to do the other. That one was, we'll call it 258 for the front of it. I don't remember what it was. We're going to save the project file first, and then we're going to save the thing as a TIFF, non-destructive file. Now let's go into Lightroom. I'm going to show you how I color correct it and fix these images. Make sure that Lightroom is open on Library. I've got my files here. I'm just going to drag them straight into my library like this for the sake of this exercise. Go into Develop, and here are our images. Now I know a lot of people like to start in Lightroom, and usually when it comes to photography stuff, like with my photography for houses, I start in Lightroom and then I edit changes in Photoshop, but I do it from Lightroom. But with drone images, you're only providing 3 or 4 images, and you're taking a lot. So you're taking all the images that go around the property, and every time you press the button, it shoots 5 images. The reason I don't load everything into Lightroom is because I'm not going to use half of these images anyway. So I tend to start in Photoshop with my drone stuff and then finish in Lightroom, which seems to be much easier for me. It just speeds up my workflow. If you've got a better way, feel free to tell me. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to go straight over to the right hand side. We're going to move some contrast up a bit. I want to bring a bit more depth into the image. As you can see, it goes from here to sort of here. It makes it look much nicer. And I'm doing this by eye just because of what I like. My writing's a bit blown out for some reason. I'm just going to bring the highlights down a little bit just to bring that writing in a little bit. I'm going to bring up the clarity a little bit, and then I'm going to bring up the vibrance just like that. Now if my white balance was off, you'd make it cooler or warmer depending on how you want, but I kind of like it neutral like that. I'm going to get the crop tool up here and I'm going to bring it in. Now this is why I always shoot wider. I shoot wider than I need to because your drone doesn't always have your image in the middle. So what I'm looking for here is the same amount of space above this line as this one, and so on and so on, so it's in the center. Same amount of space from here to there, from there to there, there to there, there to there. Now that shot's in the middle. Now you can copy these settings, press copy, select all, except the crop. Go copy, then select the third image, which was the other land box we did, and do paste. Bring the brightness up a little bit on this one because it seems to be a bit different. And it's not quite as warm, so we're going to warm it up by just moving the white balance to the right a little bit. And we'll crop it in a little bit to get rid of those white lines that are in the corner. And we want that in the center as well. And what I do for the middle one, it's got these white lines because I've straightened it, of course. We're going to bring the crop in first. And all we're going to do is just get rid of those white lines, really. And then I'm going to color correct it. So we're going to do the contrast on this one as well. Bit of clarity, not too much. And the vibrance up. And you can go as far as you want in vibrance, whatever you feel is good. I'm going to warm this up a little bit by playing with the white balance, just like that, so it looks a bit nicer. And then what I do is I grab my circle up the top right here, which adds a mask, and I'm going to select linear gradient. Now all you have to do is put the plus in the middle and left click and drag down, like so. And I go about half the sky, like that. Then all I do is just bring the temperature to the left in the blue, like so. You may think I'm colouring the black text, but if you click back over here and zoom in, you can see the black text is still black. It doesn't actually affect the white or the black. And because they're drone images and they're already sharp, you don't generally need to sharpen them. But if you want to, you can. But keep in mind, if you sharpen your image, you're also going to sharpen the white lines and the text. So keep that in mind as well. Then I export my images and send them to the agent in whatever sizes they require. Now, as I said earlier in the video, I would show you how I blend images together if I'm shooting straight into the sun when it comes to drone stuff. I've loaded some images in here. As you can see, they're all the same image. They're just different exposures, light through dark. So what I'll do is I'll highlight the whole lot, right click and go photo merge HDR. If it's an overcast day, you don't need to do that, of course, because you're not going to keep the sky anyway and everything's evenly lit. But if and then of course I click merge here. But if it's shooting directly into the sun, like you're shooting at dusk, sometimes I am shooting at dusk, shooting directly into the sun, you'll find that that sun will be in the middle of the sky right here or something like that, and everything will be in darkness. So by blending them together, it evens out that problem. And of course, then you replace the sky and the sun with it. This is the blended image without any editing whatsoever. As you can see, it's nice and colourful. The sky even looks pretty decent, really, although I'd still probably replace it. And away you go. As promised, I've left something for you in the description. It's the Photoshop project template that I created and used in this video. I do have much more complicated templates that I use for different agents because they've all got different requirements, but this is one of the standard ones that I always use. It'll get you started so you can get your job done, and as you get better and progress, you can learn to do more templates for yourself. If you want to know how I shot all these images for this video, just click on this video here and I'll see you over there. Thank you.